Hey guys, Rich from Rich Mid Gaming. Hope everyone is doing fantastically well. And the TTS League for Shatterpoint, the first ever one, is very quickly upon us. And I wanted to put together this video just in case there was any of you out there who were a little bit worried, didn't quite know how to download TTS, didn't know what mod you needed to do, but also to give you some hints and tips once you're actually in the mod itself and show you how to use TTS for the upcoming Shatterpoint League. So the first thing that you're going to want to do, guys, is actually get yourself a copy of Tabletop Simulator if you don't already have one. I know there's a couple of different places where you can purchase this, but ultimately the way that you will install it is by going through Steam. So if we just go to the search bar here and just type in Tabletop, there we go. Oh, no, we lost it a second there. Tabletop Simulator, here we go. This is the one. You can see for me it's already in my library. It's currently costing $14.99, but as I mentioned, check out Green Man Gaming, check out CD Keys. You can often find this at a discount. So yeah, just make sure you check that out before you pay the full price on Steam. Now, once you've actually purchased it and installed the game, you want to head over to your library on Steam and you want to jump over to Tabletop Simulator, and you're going to see a tab along here called Workshop. Now, this is where you're going to be able to get all of the different mods that people have built for the game. Some of them are completely free, some of them there is a cost associated with them. So in here we're just going to put in Shatterpoint, press the enter key, and you can see here there are a couple of different options when it comes to Shatterpoint. The one that you want to look for, the mod that has had the most work done to it and is the one that we are using for the TTS League, is going to be this one here by Coffee Time. So it's got the 4-star rating. Don't know why it's only got 4 stars, because it's really good. But all you need to do to add them into your workshop library is just press this little button here. You can see I've already got it ticked, but just add that in there and then it's going to work within your TTS mod. So let's jump over to TTS and I'll show you how we set up our first ever game. Okay, so we are in the Tabletop Simulator mod itself. So the first thing we need to do is create a game, and you need to choose whether it's going to be a single player or a multiplayer game. Now, obviously, with Star Wars Shatterpoint, it's going to be a multiplayer game. Put whatever details you want in there, a server name, a server password. You can see very, very secure with just Rich123, and then just click Create Server. So now you've created your server, you need to choose your game to load in. And you can see here, you've got lots of different options. These are all the workshop games that I've downloaded and used, but the one that you're looking for is Star Wars Shatterpoint. If it doesn't appear on this list, you can press here and it will bring up all of the ones that you have done. But for this instance, we're going to load up Shatterpoint and we'll take you straight into the mod that has been created. Now, I'll give you a quick orientation of the mod itself. As the player that is hosting, you're going to be brought in as the red player, and the other player that comes in and plays with you will be the blue player. You can see you've got your gaming mats down here at the top and bottom for each player, and you've got a couple of different things here, such as the struggle cards, you've got your order cards, you've got character cards along here, all your movement tools, tokens, and everything else that you need. Now, the first thing I want to show you is how we actually get our strike team, our squads and our strike team in the game itself. So let's just scroll down here a second, and you can see here we've got 37 character cards. Now, this is a character card for each and every character in the game, and to load them in you simply drop them over, so drag and drop, and it's going to pull out everything that you need for this particular unit. So we've got the Darth Maul character there, we've got the stats card, we've got the order card, and we've also got the stance card. Now, if you do drag one over by accident, you'll see there we can no longer interact with this character card here. All we have to do is just hover over, press the L button, that's going to unlock it, and then just move it again, and you can see it pulls everything off there. So it's really, really easy to be able to build up our full squad doing it in this way. And you can see here, no matter where we drop them, it's going to put them in the right place. So we don't have to worry too much about where we drop them. So it'll put the primary on the left hand side, the secondary in the middle, and then the support units. You'll also notice it pulls over the correct number of force tokens that you've got there as well, depending on what it is your main character does. Let's put a Darth Vader in here as well. Let's put a Pons in there. And let's play a point down. We'll just play an half trooper just to show you how it works there. So we've got our characters all lined up here. However, there is a different way that we can do this. So I'm going to jump over to a slightly different app and I'll show you how we can build it on something called Point Break and then just import it directly from there. Okay guys, so now we are over at Point Break. So this is pointbreaksw.com. I'll put a link down in the description below. You do need a login for this. However, if you have used Cerebro MCP in the past, your login for that will work. And what we want to do here is open up this panel and press build. So this is going to allow you to build your strike team. So on build, we go up to this top corner here. Now you do have the option to toggle for a premiere. We don't need that for this particular TTS league. However, the other thing as well is that you can't import when it is a premiere, which is a little bit annoying. It's still good there for building it to use for long chunk lists and things like that. But for this one, we're just going to do a normal strike team. So we click on add primary. And we get to choose our first primary here. So let's bring in some Asajj Ventress. It then shows us all these secondaries that we get to use. So let's bring in a Kalani. Who doesn't love a Kalani? And then let's go with some B1 battle droids. And let's maybe put in, who are we going to go with here? Let's go with a, where's he gone? Count Dooku. There we go. Adding our secondary, which is going to be Jango Fett. And then adding our support units, which are going to be the Magna Guard. We need to give it a quick name. So let's just call this Dark Seps. Obviously, you can call it whatever you want. Click OK. We can save that. And then if you look at this little sort of 3-button thing here, we're going to click on here. And then we're going to click this SPT. This is going to be a code that we can import directly into Tabletop Simulator, and it's going to pull all of those cards through for us. So I'm going to click SPT, and you can see here, we can also paste this into Longshanks, and it's going to work in exactly the same way. But now, if we head back over to TTS, you'll notice at the bottom here, we do have a little space. So if we Control V, that's going to paste all of that text in and press import, you can see there it brings all of those cards in for us without us needing to drag and drop each one in turn. You can also use Tabletop Admiral for this. I personally just use Point Break because I really like that particular app, but you can use either of them. Okay guys, so the next thing that we need to do is set up the map. And as you notice when we first logged in or first loaded in the mod, we do have this predefined map here. And I quite like this map. It's the one that I tend to use. However, it may be that if you've played it a few times, you want to mix things up. So we do have the ability to clear the table and choose from some other map. So if we head over here for a moment, if we simply press the clear table button, you'll see now that the entire table has disappeared. And in this holocron, we've got some maps. So we've got Imperial Radio, don't know what that, Office, Par 3, Ulysses, Kebabs map. So a couple of different ones here. Let's pull in the Imperial Radio. And then all we're going to do is just drag and drop this bag onto here. And you can see it will load up an alternative map with everything in the right place that we need them to be. So all of the objective tokens are all in the right place. So yeah, that's the way that you can add some additional maps into the mod itself. Okay, so once we've got the map done, we now need to roll for priority. So this is a good point to take a look at the dice tray itself. Obviously, it comes with 2 dice trays. and they're very, very easy to use. You'll notice here we've got a remove all dice button, a remove a single dice button. This is going to show you how many dice are in the tray at any one time. We've got our add attack, our add defense, and then we've got roll our dice. And then across here, you have got all of the different results that you can get, going from strike, crit, attack expertise, failure on either, and then blocks and defensive expertise. So we need to roll for priority. So let's add in our 5 dice. You can see there, really, really easy to do. Press the dice tray. I like to give it a few extra rolls. I'm sure one roll works exactly the same, but in my head, I like to give it some extra rolls. And you can see there the results that we get. So we got 2 strikes, we got 2 expertise, and we got 1 failure. Let's say we want to reset these dice. Let's say that we've rolled and we've both rolled exactly the same. So we need to actually re-roll. Well, you don't have to delete them all and then add them in again. Really, really simply, just press this button here and it's going to pull all the dice down from the top and then allow you to re-roll them again. Now, there are a couple of other things that we may want to do with dice in the game. If you have rolled and you've realized, oh, do you know what? I made a focus and I forgot to add the extra dice in, or Kalana's ability, I missed that one. Not a problem at all. All you need to do is add 1 extra dice in, and it will only roll the dice that are in the tray. It won't roll any dice that are up here. So you can roll that dice, and then typically, like my dice are, it gets added into the failure pot. But let's say that you are playing either a Mace Windu or you've got a Cody in there, and you do have a reroll dice capability. So all you need to do to reroll dice is if you just click up here, you'll see you get a little red button. So if you click on there, it will bring down the same number of dice that have the same symbol on there. So because I clicked 2 failures, it's brought 2 failures back in here. And then once again, to re-roll them, all I need to do is press this here. And oh look, I actually got a better result. To clear the dice tray, we just press this button here. As I mentioned, if you add your dice in, you realize you put 1 too many in there, just press remove and it's going to remove X number of dice. And then the defense dice work in exactly the same way, guys. No difference whatsoever. Dice tray, really, really easy to use. And yeah, it's just a very, very easy way to be able to, for everyone to see the results, because it's really nice and easy for your opponent to see them as well. Okay guys, so we have our strike team that's been imported, we've chosen our map, we've rolled for priority. So the next thing that we do, or next thing we need to do is actually deploy our squads. And once again, we've got some really, really nice tools to make this as easy as possible. So the first thing you're going to want to do is head on over to this button here, which is the deploy button. If you press this, it will go to deploy true. Now what that does is, whenever you pick up a primary character, it's going to add a range 2 measurement tool on there, meaning that you can't pull them past. So you'll see here, I'm trying to pull them up further. It won't let me take them any further. So I'm going to deploy a Sarge Ventress, and she's going to go just here like so. Now, from here then, we need to deploy our secondary and our primary unit, and this is where some of the shortcut keys come in. So obviously in Shatterpoint, we have range 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5, and we correlate those to the number pads. So for a little quick action, all we need to do is on the numpad. Now, if you don't have a numpad, go into the settings on TTS itself, go to the keyboard bindings, and I think they're called quick key or something like that, but you'll be able to work it out. So if I press the number 1 whilst hovering over a Sarge Ventress, I now have a range 1 tool that is stuck to her base, but I can move this around. Now, all I'm going to do to deploy my first character of B1 battle droids is on the button here, I have place 1. If I press this, I can still move this around, but the next thing that I pick up and hover over is going to stick to this. So I can move it backwards and forwards, but I can't move it around. So we're going to deploy the B1 battle droids there. Going to move that along, and we've still kept that place 1 function on. So now when we pick up Kalani, it's going to do exactly the same. And lastly, when we pick up our second unit of B1s, he says trying to deploy in a way that works. Let's just put them down here for the moment. I've done a terrible job there. They're going to deploy there just like so. Obviously then our opponent can do the same. The little button I just pressed there, by the way, to refresh everything, whilst you can drag and drop them back over to the tool tray, is just the 0 button. That's another one of our quick keys. So let's put Count Dooku here as well. We press the 1 button again. We want Jango Fett to be nice and far up the board as much as we can go. Magna Guards are going to head over this way, and then these other Magna Guards are going to head on over here like so. Press the 0 button again, then it'll refresh the tool tray, and now our entire team is deployed. Obviously, we would have done that alternating with us going first with priority, then our opponent, then us, then our opponent. Once we've done that, quick thing to remember, guys, is just toggle that deployment back off, because the next time you try and go to move one of your primary units, they're going to get stuck. So just a quick tip there. So the final part of the setup of the board then is to decide which of the 3 phase 1 struggles we are going to be using. So you can see we've got all of our struggle cards are laid out nice and neat for us here. Now what you want to do is hover over the card and press the R button. Now again, press it as many times as you want, but this is going to shuffle the deck. So it just means that they've got a nice shuffle and they're not coming out in the standard way. And then we've got a really nice tray here for us. We just drag and drop the top card just by using the right mouse button, and then flip that card over. Now remember that the card itself needs to be orientated towards whichever player was the first player. So to do that, if you do need to switch it around, you can either go right click, and then I think you've got to rotate here left and right, so you can go all the way around like this. But again, some nice quick easy tools is if you use your Q and E, if you press hold of either of those buttons, it's going to move them around. Another quick tip when it comes to rotation, if you look here, I've got a rotation degrees. Now if I flip this through, it can go from anywhere from 15 up to 90, and the difference there is that when I press it once, it will flip around that number of times. For me, I like mine to be on 15, so I've got more control over things that I'm doing. So we know what struggle we're going to be playing. So it's Steal the Secret Plan. So now we need to flip these different objectives. So you can see here that they've got a little numpad on them, 1 through 4. Now we're going to use our normal keys along the top of our keyboard here. 1 is going to turn them off completely. They're going to be inactive. But if we press the 2 button, it's going to make them active. Press 3, they are controlled by the blue player, and 4 controlled by the red player. So for this instance, we're just going to go through and we're going to activate all of those objectives that correlate to the card itself. And with that, guys, we are ready for our first turn of Star Wars Shatterpoint in Tabletop Simulator. I did get slightly ahead of myself, guys, because what we haven't done is built our order deck. So what we need to do is very simply just drag and drop these order cards. We already have the Shatterpoint card sat there waiting for us. Drag and drop them over like so. And then what you want to do is you want to press the F button as you are hovering over the cards. That's going to flip them over, not just the top card, but every single card. And then once again, give them a little shuffle with that R button. And then finally is you need to take a look at your stance cards. Now, obviously for secondaries and support, they only have one stance that they can be in. But for our primaries, they have a couple of options. So I'm happy with Form 2 Makashi for Dooku because that's got his shooty ability on there. However, let's turn Asajj from her Form 2 Makashi into her other form. And the way that we do that is simply just hover over. You'll see the name of the card, so you know that's the right one that you're hovering over. Press the F button, and we will be flipped into Jar Kai. So there we go. Now, with all that said and done, we are ready to take our first turn. So how do we take our turn? Well, very simply, drag and drop our card over here, our top card. press F, and lo and behold, we get the Shatterpoint, which is actually quite good because it lets me show you a couple of different things in the game. First one that I want to do is show you how the movement tools work in the game, because we only have 2 movement tools. These are the measurement tools, and these are the movement tools. So I mentioned that we can use 1 through 5 to bring up the corresponding range tool, and you'll notice that when we press a different button, it automatically takes the other one off the board. Now the reason for that is you're only allowed a single range tool and a single movement tool on the board at any one time. So with the Shatterpoint, I am going to go with Count Dooku. Let's go with Count Dooku here. So Count Dooku, he is going to use his leadership ability, his tactic ability, leader of the Separatist army, lets him move himself and another character. So he himself is going to make a dash. Now what I did there to bring that dash tool up, I'll just show you again, is I hovered over his card and I pressed 7. So 7 is going to be the dash tool, and I'll put all of these down in the description below so you've got a quick, easy reference guide. And it works in exactly the same way as the measurement tools. It sticks to the base of the character and you can move it around freely. So what I'm going to do here is I'm going to move him over in this general direction. So if you notice on the tool itself, we have a couple of buttons. Now let's say that I needed to get around this wall and I couldn't go over it. So what I would do with that, I would have to bend the tool itself. So I'm going to press the bend tool, and now it's going to let me move this tool. Then I press lock, and then when I move it, it's locked into this sort of, I don't know what degree angle that is. And then I can simply press the place button, should I wish to, by right clicking, and I'm going to right click again and take me back there. Or if you noticed, when I press that place button with the right mouse button, I'm actually inside some terrain there, so that's an illegal position. So let me undo that again, and I'm just going to press place with the left mouse button. And what that then does is it lets me pick my character up, and it locks me into the tool, and it will only let me move them to a position that is legal. So we're going to have Dooku, and he's going to move up in this direction here. Now he also allows another character to move up with him. So we're going to have this Magna Guard, and this Magna Guard is just going to move in this general direction. Again, for this one, I just use the right click. Then we can make a move with Dooku himself. So I'm just going to press the number 8 key. So number 8 on the numpad is going to be the main advance tool. And he is going to advance over. In fact, what he's going to do actually is he's going to take a take cover action first. So I press my range 1 because we know that a take cover is a range 1 push. I place it down. I again press the place button. I'm now locked in this position. I move myself forward, and then I gain myself a hunker token. Now, hunker tokens are up in this pile of tokens here, so all you do is take one off, and most people will just pop it on top of their character there, like so. Now we're going to take a movement action. So we're going to get Dooku. He's going to move all the way up to here, and as you can see, we finished our movement within range 1 of this ingress point. So we can use that ingress point, move up the ladders, and again, making sure that we are within range 1 of this side, we can use that ingress point. We're going to move him ever so slightly off the side here, just so we can get to this. Okay, so now we've moved Dooku, we get to make the follow-up move with the Magna Guard using protection protocols. But you'll notice here that it has to be towards the chosen character. So the way that we use the towards tool is hover over the character that is moving towards, and we press number 6. Now that is going to bring up the advanced tool for us, but it's going to allow us to bring up this 90-degree angle, and then we can just turn it around, pull it back to where we need it to be, and you can see there that if we draw a line from Dooku, going through the Magna Guard. The way that I drew that line, by the way, is just by holding the tab button. So hold the tab button anywhere and it's going to bring up a line for you. It will automatically center on the base of a character that you hold it through. And that's good enough for me. It probably needs to be a little bit more like this. Try it again and we can see there that that is pretty much perfect. So we know that this is now the angle that we can move. And this is where we need to do something a little bit different, purely because of just where the mod is right now. But if we're going to be making an advance towards, we've already used our advance tool. So we're going to have to grab our opponent's advance tool. And it's just purely when we're using advances. But if we were to press the number 8 button now on this character, it would use our advance tool here and put them on. So all we're going to do is bring it close, put it on the ground here, press the snap button, and now we have this tool that is going to work in exactly the same way. And the nice thing about this as well is it locks in place and it doesn't let us go past that 90-degree angle that we can move. So I'm going to pull him all the way over here. I'm going to press the place button again with the right mouse button, sorry, the left mouse button, and I'm going to move him up and I'm going to see if we can manage to get him within range 2 of this point, which I can, which means that I will get to claim an extra point. Now I press the 0, it only refreshes my tray. So you can either press the refresh button here, or you can just drag it over. And as long as it's off the board, it's going to go back into the tray nicely like so. So it's come to scoring at the end of my first activation. So we can see that I've got this objective here. So I'm going to press the 4 here, press the 4 here, and press the 4 here, meaning that I control all 3 of those objectives. But let's say that this wasn't the first turn, and let's say that this is now getting to a point where I need to score. So let's head over and take a look at the struggle tracker. So let's go over and take a look at the struggle tracker itself. This is very, very easy to use. So it will always start with the struggle token in the middle and then 1 momentum for each character. And to move the struggle tracker, you simply just pick it up and it will lock in place. So you'll see it sort of snap in there. So all you need to do is move it up the appropriate number of tools. We can add in momentum very easily for either character just using these buttons here. And then again, when the other character scores, we can just move it back to wherever it is they score. If we want to reset the struggle tracker, so the first struggle has been completed and somebody's won, all we do is simply press the reset button and it will take everything back to its starting state. Let's take a quick look at the order cards themselves. So you'll notice here we've got our deck. These are the cards that we have used, obviously with the top card being the active one. But we do have the ability to put cards into reserve nice and easily. So once we flip them, all we do, drop them into the reserve pile here. And yeah, there we go, nice and easy. What I want to do, however, and look, there were the card there that I wanted, is show you how to put cards to the top and bottom of the deck. So we've taken our next card, which is going to be the B1s, and obviously they have an ability where we can put them to the bottom. Now, the easiest way I found to do this is to press and hold your cards, and it's going to bring all of the cards up. A quick press and a pull is going to take the top card, but if you press them for a half a second, it's going to pull all of the cards up there. Then we simply flip the card that we want to put to the bottom of the deck, put this in the bottom of the tray, press and hold, wait till they've pulled up, and then just drop them on top. And now our B1s are going to be on the bottom of the deck. Lastly then is going to be applying damage, special conditions, wounds, and using these tokens that we've got. Now you can see when we load the characters in, they all have damage tokens, they have special condition tokens here that we can toggle, and they have a wound injury token tracker here equal to their number of, or equal to their durability in the game. So you can see here that the B1s, because they have got 2 durability, we've got 2 wound stroke injury tokens, but because Dooku has 3, he has got 3 here. So to apply damage, it's really simple and straightforward. To apply 5 damage, press a 5 damage button. To apply 1 damage, press a 1 damage button. To remove that damage, click it again and it will remove it. And the same thing goes for the special conditions. So press them once and it's going to bring the colour on, indicating that they are currently applied to that unit, and click them again to toggle them off. The wound and injured tokens work in exactly the same way, but obviously we have 3 states. So you press it once to show that the character is wounded, press it again to show that the character is injured. Same thing with the force. They will always start with them being available to play, and to use them, to spend the force, you simply just press on them and it is going to flip them to being used, basically. And then at the end of the round right now, it is a manual thing to go through and just pop them back over like that. And let's just quickly show you how we would reset our deck. So all of our cards are in here. We're at the end of our turn. We've refreshed our force. All we need to do is once again press that F button to flip them round, bring them over to the other side here, press the R button a couple of times to give them a shuffle, and there we go. That is all we need to then take our next card and see what we get. And once again, stuck with the B1s. As we've already mentioned, at the end of a struggle itself, you just press the reset button. We can drag and drop this card here to show that we've won the first struggle. Then we can go to struggles 2, give them a little flip, pull it over like this, flip it over, and then we can then choose which of those we want to enable. So let's say that we're going to enable this bottom one here. So once again, we just go through and we press the appropriate button. So 1 deactivates them, 2 activates them. And then lastly is we do have a little dice here that we can roll, and this will allow us to determine which is going to be the priority objective. So we can see for this one, it's going to be this one here because we rolled that defense expertise. So if you are playing with mission critical, we do have a clock in here as well. That's really easy to do. All we do is just press start game clock. It's going to start a countdown for us, and when you get to 30 minutes left, that's when you hit mission critical. And basically at the end of each player's activation, they add an extra momentum in there on top of any momentum that they would normally add. And the last thing, guys, that I need to show you, because it is a very, very important part of the game itself, is if we go along to the top here, you'll see this flip table button. So if you are playing against an opponent who was particularly salty, or maybe you're feeling a little bit salty yourself, your dice have been bad, you want to flip the table, there we go. That's all you need to do. And there we go, guys. That is my quick guide on how to use Tabletop Simulator to play Star Wars Shatterpoint. I'm going to leave links down in the description below on where you can sign up to the TTS League. There'll be a Discord that you need to sign up to as well, or log into, and then all of the details will be in there, but I'll put everything in the description below. I have done another video announcing the TTS League as well, so make sure you head on over and go to check that out. Sign-ups are open until the 7th of August, so you do have a little bit of time still to get your entries in. And if you do want a game, if you want somebody to give you a demo game on Tabletop Simulator, head on over to the Shadowlands, head on over to the TTS one for Shatterpoint, and if you put in there that you're looking for a game, you're looking for a demo game, there are plenty of people on there who will be more than happy to give you a game. That's going to be it for me, guys. For everyone that joins the TTS League this season, thank you so much for supporting us. I want to give a big shout out to Coffee Time and the rest of the team for building this absolutely amazing mod for us. It just means that we get to play far more Shatterpoint than we ever normally would. Big shout out as always to loyalist Games, the sponsor of the channel, and a big shout out to all of our Patreons as well, who just help support the channel and making this content that much easier. If you could leave a like, it really does help. If you could share this in your groups, just so we can try and get the word out to as many people as possible, that would also be really appreciated. And as always, guys, it leaves me with just enough time to say stay well, keep safe, and until next time, may the force be with you.